Good morning, dickheads! Hello, welcome to the honest-wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. Welcome to the show. It's great to be... The whole time before, I was like, is that how I'm starting the show? I was like, look, my audience, they'll find it funny. It's podcast bros. Hope you're well. Hey, dickheads, stop it. Love you so much. You're all wonderful people and have every okay to call me a dickhead in return. I'm sorry, Groaty Woaty. I apologise to all children listening. Good morning, welcome to the show. Afternoon, I guess in some places, evening in others. I hope you're well. I'm your host, Rob. Today I'm doing some more painting. I'm painting these wee hooses, is what I'm doing. And I guess we should probably talk about those spicy leaks that we saw yesterday on the internet, which will be a fun conversation as well. So that's what we're going to do. But I very rarely, well, not very rarely, I appreciate the shows where it's just me hanging out with the Twitch chat. So I want to talk to all of you guys, just to see how you all are. Like, you're my crew, my extended fam, my bros from other Mo's. And so I just want to see what you're all doing. It's afternoon where you are. Thank you, Coraldon. I guess anything after midday is afternoon. I have been up all morning doing stuff. I'll show you what I'm painting as we go through. And I just want to chat to you guys. The hobby room said we're not family friendly yesterday. We're not family friendly. And that's fine. I don't want to be family friendly. The thing is I don't really get a choice. I've said this time and time again. Because we have Nathan Prescott on the show. Why, I am tethered to him, Tom, Nick, Dan, who's not family friendly either, James. I think James could be family friendly because he's just such a treasure. And I don't ever want to lose those guys. And I'm going to ask them to not be themselves. And they are not garden friendly, yes. Family friendly, I'm going to say no. Balls to it, he'll learn the words of the street, he will grow, he won't he? Is this the AOS 3 leaks? We could talk about those. But before that, I just want to see how you all are. Dive in what you're working on. Manson family friendly. No, we're not that bad. I just think, there's a certain climate around the co-hosts, and I think there's no point being shy about it. And there's loads of Garage Hammer, they're family-friendly. There's loads of places for family-friendly, that's fine. Why your family are watching Warhammer content with you is the real question. I guess your kids have to. It's daddy's time now. Dad's gonna listen to the mentally scarred adult man talking about Warhammer on the telly. That's what he's doing today. Warmaster Titan. Oh, Warmaster Titan, Dajin. Ooh, big model. That's fun. What's everyone else doing? You're all nice people, though, and the girl in the hobby room said as such. Thanks, Jog. Thanks to that hobby room lady, Kerry. We are nice people. We are nice people. Just a particular flavour of nice people. We are robust. Robust is another great word. We're a robust community, healthy as a group. And you're all included. Podcast bros, you're included. Podcast ladies, you're included. YouTubers. I see you. I see you, moops. Noops it is. I see you with your YouTube comments every time. Love you. I'm cleaning up the Stormcast store birthday model while trying to escape from work. You've got that. Good. MJ, just kicking back today. Hope everyone is doing well. It's a nice day to kick back. In the UK, it's very sunny. Very, very nice. It's a Saturday. Restrictions are slowly lifting. Everything's looking very positive for us, which is really, really nice. I'm painting up terrain, which has been really fun. Yesterday I was working on, if you guys saw me tweet, I tweet to save lives, I showed a picture of me doing terrain maps for the Age of Sigmar Battle Plans. So that's something I'm going to put into effect here for events, that they're all the terrain will be pre-placed, and it'll also have keywords on it from my terrain pack. So you'll be able to, you'll just turn up to the table, there'll be a little bit of card next to the table, and you'll know what's happening, and you and your opponent don't have to have a discussion about it. It'll all just be there, set out in black and white, and super easy to use. And hopefully, even though I'm painting it, look really nice. I'm cooking curry and feeling hobby meh. K-Dread, come on, man. There's new Wanderer stuff coming out soon. You got this. Hams fan, painting Chaos Marauders. Ooh, Have they got nipples on them? Is a question, because they're very chunky, aren't they? They're very, very chunky. Gimme, I'm painting Gene Stealer Colts. Phenomenal models. Phenomenal models forever, especially like the acolytes and everything else like that. They're just the best. Just had my first haircut since September, says Malk, and first shave since lockdown. Wow. That's amazing. Thanks to Tweet Save Lives for donating £1 to the show. It's very much appreciated. Chris says, TT Chris, what up? Looking after a new baby and trying to still work on Project House. Keen to get back out of the hobby, but AOS 3 leaks have gone and taken a dump on my new army list building. Yeah, little bit of a troublesome time, I guess, for all of us with leaks starting to appear. And of course, we're all talking about the AOS List Labs leaked video is, I think, what we're talking about. I think one of the things that we should probably discuss is that, like, there's always that weird transitional time anyway. I've been feeling that sort of punishment, I would say, since Marathi. Not punishment, that's the wrong word. It's completely the wrong word. I've been feeling that feeling. I've been feeling a bit kind of like I haven't really been very inspired to write lists because I know it's all changing. Because when you get into that kind of psychic awakening phase and you're like, oh, okay, like, you know, what's my last hurrah? What's my last unit? What's my last kind of army list going to be? But it is all changing, so you kind of look towards the future, which I think has got what got me interested about, like, in the surface that we play on. Because it's a nice kind of, like, 6-month window to kind of, because it's going to be obsessive, obviously, when it comes out, like, obsessive, getting involved in what it, like, you know, what the different things mean, like, you know, what the new units, new points. Not that I know or think that there might be new points, but, you know, like, sometimes there is in that situation. So, yeah, a list building malaise is sometimes where it is. But then that kind of gives you opportunity to read all the other stuff in that kind of, like, 6-month period. The narrative, which is fucking brilliant at the moment. Again, I'm not really talking about it because I don't want to do the spoilers. But it's a nice time, but I always feel a bit of a malaise at that point. Bobbin, hello gang. I love the fight with Vince last night. It was a respectful disagreement between two friends. I think is the right way to put it. And I appreciate Vince coming on the show because we spoke about it afterwards, and he said, oh, like, it's always awkward going into enemy territory, which I guess the Honest Wargamer crew is, but I would say that you guys are phenomenal as an audience, and I want to thank you personally for being the audience for the Honest Wargamer, because this is terrible for the camera, you can't see anything. Yeah, because obviously you guys, like, are willing to listen to people disagree healthily, have different points of view, and then, like, you know, and kind of discuss it amongst yourselves. And I think that's great. You're not tribal. You're just like analytical, and, you know, make some jokes. And so I appreciate you as an audience, like, deeply. So thank you for being you. You're great people. Can someone point me in the right direction? And I'm painting kangaroos. Hexneck. There's a YouTube link. Someone, I'm sure, will be able to put the YouTube link in the chat. Kangaroos are awesome. Really looking forward to those. What do you guys think of, now you can see it a bit more, the kind of barn, what's it called? Whatever this vibe is. The red house. I've gone for red, which I think is, obviously this is before a wash, so it's going to get heavily washed down. And be much muckier, but I don't know what you guys think about that. There's also a lot of snow texture going on the base at some point for the snow. I almost bought cake today after Vince's analogy. Hey, Hamfan, love you both. Always welcome to Mom Dad Fight. Good. Burning Mouse out. I like thinking this is good. So who is it? Look, Hexneck. If you're looking for a link, Smorgan in the chat, who is the producer of said video, which has taken the internet by storm, is your man. If you guys want to go and check out that video, really well put together, actually, I think, as well. And maybe go look at Kings of War. Actually, was kind of my weird side note. I was like, let's go check out Kings of War, because there was something in there about that in his leak video. So I guess the thing to discuss is what Smorgan talks about in that video, because there were some significant points. I think maybe the biggest takeaway for me was the no battalions in match play. Interesting. First emotional reaction to that was, I don't like it. I was like, I hate that. Because I like battalions. Like, we've been doing shows on battalions for like several months. Me and the guys, we would talk about battalions and how fun they are, and for theming your army, and great for new people, and they kind of produce like an identity. I'm playing Change Host, so you don't really even need to talk about like what's in the Change Host. Like you already kind of know what's in the Change Host. Like I'm playing Fire Slayers. You're like okay, I already know what's in there. It's Lords of the Lodge. So kind of like my emotional reaction was like a bit of sadness in that situation. But apparently there are universal ones. Oh yeah, I remember that from the video. Yeah. So but then thinking about it, they aren't very balanced, are they? Like, which is weird, because one of the things I talked about before was for sub-factions and artifacts to cost points, because I think what was the point I was trying to make? Because I just read something really funny about Colonel Cabbage. Isn't it a real story? Why didn't Smorgan drop the info when he was here a couple of days ago? Damn rude, he wanted the content for his own channel. It's fine. Oh wait, there's already a counter rumor that the battalion thing isn't true, just to add to the spice. Okay, I haven't seen that YouTube video yet. Very excited, because all of this really kicked off, to be fair to Smorgan, all this really kicked off a few months ago with Grimdark Live, an American YouTube channel, who said that they were getting their sources directly from Games Workshop HQ, which was wild. I was like, that's wild. Where they were getting, so they were the first people to drop the news about charge reactions, which I guess we could talk about more in a bit. We're on, but that's kind of where it goes. So now, obviously, more and more of this is piling out. Happened with 40k in the new edition as well, actually. But in that situation, the entire thing was leaked online, which was pretty wild. On of all places, the terrible 4chan. So much tea spilt. Yes, so much tea. But I would say that the battalion's initial gut reaction, emotionally distraught by it, especially because they've been a key part of Age of Sigmar since its inception. It's been a bit, right? But for match play, yeah, man, I can see why. Trogherd being the same price as Change Host. I know Pete was just saying that in the chat. And because sometimes, like, Plague Touch Warband just defines the Slave to Darkness book. And really, there are already two ways to really, mess up War Scrolls inside of a book, right? You can put them in a battalion, which messes them all up, like, makes them stronger, like Plague Touch Warband, for instance, like, makes them have this insane ability across all of those units. Or sub-factions, where they get it as well. And so sometimes you take the battalion, you stick it in the sub-faction of your choice, like we've seen with Change Host going into different sub-factions. And sometimes the sub-faction really defines it, and then the battalion is just like, am I taking that inside that as well? Like Mortex Shield Corps. Like, is it going in, is it not going in? I'm taking Barak Ziflin, I'm taking the spell in the bottle, but am I taking Iron Sky Command, or am I taking Iron Sky Squadron? Like, how am I playing it? And I guess there's a situation where there's the haves and have-nots. Because if you have a great battalion, you're laughing. You're like, I'm doing great. Thank you to Wolf Wargaming for subscribing. Or resubscribing. Second month in a row. Tory Rob says, I think it's an intentional release, like Apple. What, the rumours, Tory Rob? Because I would love to hear this. Please inform me of this opinion. But some armies don't ever have the ability to one-drop. That's fascinating. So when you take that out of the equation and everyone is now, and there was some sort of internal battalions as well, or something, or like some sort of general battalions. So like generic ones, so that everyone could take, that produces like a much more balanced game, because everyone has access to the same set of like being able to drop your drop count down. So being able to drop your drop count down to the same is great. Like, that's really positive change, because it means the haves lose stuff, and then the have-nots gain something, and so everyone's on an equal footing. And so there's some great equity between the different armies, which I think is a huge positive. And they've got the same opportunity cost to get the same bonuses. So I think that's a huge positive. Like, I honestly, I think emotional reaction, like I've said, bad. But then actually when you cycle back and you start to think about the game, really positive. Not a huge fan of Seraphon getting lower drops. Like, if I'm honest. But, with the new edition, we expect new points and all other things, which would be good. I don't believe in the no battalions rule because it sounds good, says Azrank. Fair, that's fair. Bathanos says, no battalions and cat buffs is going to put a ton of pressure on the war scrolls not to be shit. You can wrap shit units in battalions and tons of buffs to make them good. That's kind of gone now. But that's great for the game, right? Isn't that great for the game? That an army can't do well because it can't rely on like -4 to hit or like just one battalion holding it together. Like really, the Slaves to Darkness war scrolls could probably do with like a significant look at the points and also like their kind of inclusions, because really it's the war scroll battalions that make them wherever they end up being. And so it would be really fun to see them like re-looked at. And then if you take battalions out of the equation, it doesn't really matter whether or not they can go in that. And I think that's a huge positive. So actually, like, I'm into that as well. If the battalions rumor was true, then why release the box set that you can't use to some extent? Makes no sense from a business perspective. It does. You just sell it and then like you're sorted. I mean, you can still sell battalion boxes. They're just narrative. Like, this is really, we kind of, like, you put the pedal to the metal, right? Are competitive wargamers, or at least people who buy or make purchases to game with, invested as much as maybe narrative gamers? Is there the same, is there the same proportional kind of, like, split between them? And will, like, battalions be something that people are still really keen to do in narrative play and tell stories with? Who knows? I, for one, am sick of all the narrative war games on my timeline. So it would be nice to see them kind of like separate out. So when I see someone saying, hey, you know, here I am running this Playtouch Warband, or I'm trying to think of like Nurgle's Menagerie, you know, if they're taking Horticulix Slimmux one, which the narrative war gamers are all about, they take that probably too much. Like, I'll be like, okay, God, you're talking about battalions. Like, thankfully it's not us match play guys. There's not enough of us. It's got to try and keep that little bubble, like, safe from all the open play narrative guys. This is a bit much. Marcus Rock, do you think it'll be like detachments? I don't know. So that's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it opens up armies. I don't take some units as they mess with drops. That's fair. Scrap battalions feels like a cop-out. Either spend more effort and time on trying to balance points rules or scrap a whole part of the list building process. Waggy 4K. That's a great point. I guess it is a cop-out, but it's a cop-out I don't mind them taking. I don't think they have the skill sets to do that, so thumb from me. Like, thumb. Weak tier armies need to get new books, not to cling to average battalions. It's ultimately better for the top tier factions to have a broken battalions taken away. It's ultimately better for the top tier factions to have the broken battalions taken away. So the lower end books. Yes, but it also means that there'll be that clear difference between those two like tiers of books, if you want, Pete. And then that's really positive, because then you'll get better books, in quotation marks. A lot of people always say that I'm very critical, but I'm very hopeful. Like, I think positive changes mean positive effects. I know that reality of my life proves that that's not the case all the time, but I will never stop hoping. And we might end up with a better game. I mean, we've got a great game. It's fun. Like, I challenge anyone to point at Age of Sigmar and say it's not a fun game, even if you got to play Seraphon or Chain Shows like 5 games out of 5. I mean, taxing, but it's a fun game, man. Okay, if modifiers cap +1, Cities of Sigmar and for sure Free Guild need update, as every unit has +1 on their war scroll, and their heroes do the same. But also, doesn't that mean like that they fight against -1 quite well? It means people won't like cap. I like the max is -1. I think that makes the math easier eventually. And I think it makes the game safe. It means you end up with less non-games as well. Well, it was -4 to hit, so I literally could do nothing. I've heard that, and I think that that's a positive that doesn't exist. Like I'm pro that if that's the thing. Removing points from battalions makes perfect sense, as you're not paying money for those points. That's fair. Have fun. There will absolutely not be better books as Darker Design. There might be. This is the fun thing about Twitter, where like I think a whole bunch of people engage with me but don't engage with my content. Yeah, is that like I'm hopeful that like it's better. Like, and yeah, time and again, that's proven not to be the case. But that's not going to stop me being hopeful about it. Like, you're not stealing hope from me. Like, I hope it's going to be better. Like, I hope that, like, the game is even more fun. I hope that we all have more fun. I'm not going to stop hoping that. That's it. And I'll bitch when it's not. But until then, like, that's where I'll get disappointed. But until then, I'm going to be hopeful. Like, maybe it'll be great. Like, and that's how I'm going into it. Like, I'm like, let's go. And I did the same with 40k. I was like, let's get, and like, they did the app, and they did like a really terrible like release setup, and they did the terrain book. It hasn't dimmed my fire for 40k. I think it's a great game. I think that there's some definite things that need to be looked at, secondaries, etc. But we're in a really positive place. And like, it behoves them to make a really positive gaming experience for us as customers, so we can have a good time. And if we don't, we can just comp it, and we can just have fun anyway. It's our fucking game. So, I'm fucking in. Let's go. Do we think that all buffs being capped at -1/+1, so only +1 to charge or cast, for example? Oh, great question. Do not know. Very good question. Not sure. So if we take 40k as an example, it's +1 to hit, -1 to hit, +1 to wound, -1 to wound is the caps. I don't know if there's a save one, but it's not anywhere else. It's mainly on the to hit and the wound roll, not on things like casting. So I assume the cast buffing, it will still be a thing. Well, it'll have to be, right? Otherwise you have to like rewrite Nagash and Archon. Archon? I've been listening to too many Americans. It's Arcan. How dare you? Or Archon. So yeah, I would say that like that seems to make sense if you take that as a trend. I wouldn't expect the same cap on castings, at least not the +1. It's not the same mechanic as to hit in the wound. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I think the battalion thing's cool, man. Like, if it's going to be anything, like, I mean, most importantly, if the rumours are true, priority roll staying is all I'm about. That's what I'm about. You know, mainly for Dan, so he doesn't have to change the name of the Priority Roll podcast. I saw him say that today. That's exciting for him. I'm very excited for him. But, like, I'm into that. I think that's great. It's really good. Like, I kind of worry for all the people that have used the name of the game, like AOS or Age of Sigmar, in their branding for their content creation channel. Because the minute that, like, it's never going to be changed from Age of Sigmar, I'm pretty certain. Like, but, you know, if it was, what are you going to do now? That's the question. Question was, watching yesterday's show, says Kalbar. So what issue with Dark Elder Codex that you mentioned? This was the first I heard about it. The conversation we were having yesterday, we were talking about books being broken up into different pieces and then resold. For like Games Workshop DLC, which, as people pointed out in the chat yesterday, isn't new and they've done it before. I think someone mentioned something like 2005 with Storm of Chaos or something similar. So, like, not like the newest thing, but it seems to be like a new trend. Specifically in 40k, they released the Drukhari Codex later than they would have wanted, I assuming because of COVID and other issues, or the Evergreen, or because of ninjas. I've seen a lot of rumours recently about what's happening at Games Workshop. There's some pretty fun ones. Hasty Redacted. And then, what else was the question? I lost myself, gents. I don't know. What was I saying? Oh dear. These shows on my own, sometimes, not the easiest. I just use other people talking for my thinking time. Is my main strategy. It's my main strategy. Warhammer 1. Books on later parts. Thank you. Oh my god. So the Drukhari book had I think that's actually a different conversation, to be fair. Like, the Drukhari didn't get a part of their book cut out like we've seen the Lumineth Realm Lords and like we've seen with Sinesh, where there was 2 War Scrolls and 2 models, and there might be more. I saw a rumour yesterday, because Age of Sigmar now is only rumours, always. This is all we're doing. Rumours only! Please someone start the AOS Rumours channel, because that's way cooler. The rumour I saw yesterday was there are other new Sinesh models as well. A new Herald, because that's in Finecast. And then I also saw new Demonettes. I think someone tweeted me in it yesterday, or someone tweeted it at some people, and I saw it. And so, yeah, that's what I'd get. Please do. I am lost. What am I meant to do? Hey, Adam. Right. So, anyway, the point is with those examples, Lumineth and Slanesh, what they did was they made a whole package and they cut a bit out, or they just decided to release a bit later, whatever the situation. And then they broke them in half, or 3, or 7. We don't know at this stage what the process is. And so you've kind of got DLC. Not really, because like Vince said yesterday, unless something's invalidated, then it's not a thing. But it is a business strategy, right? Like, break your stuff up. So you keep purchasing it, you keep buying into the process, which is their business. Like, you talk about that. We did that yesterday. Don't need to do it again. But with Drukhari, what they did was they just took an additional set of rules on top. So with Drukhari, you've got the whole book, you've got the sub-factions, and you've got everything else. And then they've got one of their sub-factions has been expanded out into kind of its own codex. It's like not that big, but big enough. So like with Space Marines, you've got Space Marines, and you buy the White Scars supplement. There is a Cult of Strife supplement inside a DLC kind of thing called the Book of Rust. So that's what's going on there. So yeah, like we might see that. Like we might see Stormcast come out, and then we might see. I think that they're probably going to do to Stormcast what they did to Marines. I've said this before. Stormcast, then compendium books for more stuff. You know, so you'll end up with like Hammers of Sigmar. They'll end up with their own kind of like compendium book in addition, because they love an in addition. So they're just going to stick it all over their game. I think would be a thing. My feet hurt. Challenge myself to a 25-kilometer run with a 15 kilos rucksack. Lord Wynn, congratulations. I hope you're well. It's rumored they're bringing back square bases. I'm in. Isn't Book of Rust narrative play only? Coraldron, it is not narrative play only. It's matched play. It is a narrative book with matched play rules, is what it is. So very much like Broken Realms, same thing. Or Battalions, too soon? Too soon. Way too soon. Caps or minuses to hit and to wound are great. Happy with that if that's a thing. Yeah. Priority roll staying, great, love that. Big fan. Family. No. To be honest, I think we should all start playing Horde armies and laugh as we can't finish our games. What if their books, Games Workshop, are printed in China? Would they go digital, says Thordalium? I think they're... So, actually, I kind of got hoodwinked. Classic bit of GW work here. But I got hoodwinked because the Marine book is made in England. Yes. Right, made in England. However, this is really important, all following supplements, books, all of those words, I need some more words for books, is tomes, thank you, were actually done in China. So they kind of like hoodwinked us. I was like, oh, they're doing everything in England now. Not that I have any problem with like any work being, I'm not in any way nationalistic at all. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, burn all countries to the ground. But the it being done in China, my only problem with China obviously is that they're like a police state who are committing a genocide. That's my major problem. Apologies, everyone. Just get that out there. I don't think Games Workshop or a hobby I enjoy should be doing business over there. But then probably everything I actually own is probably from there, and I don't even realise. So do you know what? I'm a twat. So there we go. We've fully circled that conversation, so we don't ever have to have it in the comments. That's done. But I would say, I would say it's awkward for them because obviously with the Brexit and COVID, it's been really hard to get stuff out of China. So they've not been able to get any books out from over there. And then they've obviously moved to a purely book-based kind of platform. So previously when they sold their 40k books and they sold their Age of Sigmar, well, I don't know about Age of Sigmar yet. We're waiting on that, aren't we? But when they sold all their 40k books, I'm hoping Age of Sigmar, like, because obviously the 40k strategy has been so bad that they don't do digital books. I don't know if you guys know that. Some of you may, some of you might not. But they don't do digital books. They stopped them. They previously did them, and then they stopped them. So there's kind of the current fear is that that's what they're going to do for Age of Sigmar, and that's not That's not cool if that's the situation, but we'll see, I guess. Throw your printers in the sea, Citroen. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think they are moving all to the UK, but I think it'll take time given how long ago some of this stuff has been printed. Corridon, fair point. That makes loads of sense. Kelmar, yeah, let's not get into the production methods in China. That's not what I want to talk about. But I would like to see Games Workshop make some positive strides in that way, because generally they have a pretty positive policy, and I think I even heard things about them recycling at one point, which I thought was a positive. So pro them. I prefer physical coffee, but I don't understand why you wouldn't sell digital. Yeah, that's fine. You give consumers the choice, right? You don't just present all of your food. It doesn't matter. Shouldn't all the concerns about new releases, paradigms, and such wait until COVID impacts are over, says Hawkdos? Seems like it's been so disruptive, it's hard to know what Games Workshop was done on purpose versus for COVID reasons. I'd say that's a huge positive for them, right? They've been able to hide behind COVID as a problem for lots of different things. However, there are some businesses that have been unable to operate inside the COVID and Brexit sphere. That's been problematic to some businesses, and some businesses have done very well. I don't know much about that, although there are some good business analysts who are also into Warhammer, who have written articles and done tweet threads about that, and they seem to think that it's something very avoidable, and it was something very plannable. However, I could be wrong. That's not my area of expertise, and therefore, I'm not gonna put an opinion out on it. I don't like digital content because Apple, Google take a cut. But yes, that's exactly why, Scott B. They don't like digital content because Apple or Google take a cut. Yeah, they lose, 15, 20% to Apple or Google when they sell their content on there? And they just don't want to do that. They're like, why not just give us 100% of the money? And to be fair, if they made an app that you could just buy it through, the problem is the app has to be on the App Store, doesn't it? That's their problem. So they're kind of locked in. So they're losing money on each book sale. And so now for 40k, they haven't lost a penny in book sales, other than people who haven't bought them, because they're just not giving X percentage to Apple or Google. So there you go. 30% to Apple. Wow. Yeah, Apple owns the rails. It's a big problem, says Dan Doan. Yeah. I mean, Games Workshop, game-recognized game. Yeah, that's got to be the one. Games Workshop just hey, you motherfuckers, you got a monopoly. And then Google are like, what about you, motherfucker? You've got a monopoly too. On the minis industry. Again, let's just call out Chris Metzen one more time. He doesn't deserve it. I put my hopes and dreams into Chris Metzen, hoping he would develop a big AAA miniature wargaming game. And he didn't. Can we talk about that for a moment? Because I would like to talk about this forever, for all time. If I was at, in a business, or a business guy, yeah, why wouldn't you look at Games Workshop's rocket in sales over 6 years now, 7 maybe, but nearly 6, and just go, maybe we should get into that game. That's a big money. Big money. Let's get in there. There's no other AAA game developer. What a weird situation that no one else has gone, they're making loads of money. Let's leave them alone. Let's never do that. Let's just let them be. Feels really weird. But Kodoichi, because on the other side of the coin you have War Machine Hordes, but I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about AAA development. I'm talking about big money, big advertising. Ramshackle Curtis, by the way, if anyone wants to go and check out Ramshackle Games, is one of the people. So the TSN Arena is on the second floor of a building. The bottom floor downstairs is part owned between a couple of different companies, one of those being Ramshackle Games. Curtis is an amazing fellow who's actually designed from scratch a piece of terrain, a board of terrain for the TSN Arena for 40k. Looks really good. He's also a very talented sculptor and has got some really cool models if you guys want to check out. If anyone remembers Nikos's Dungers that he took to the Sheffield Slaughter in 2020. He designed all those. So, super talented guy. Really got his head screwed on and is making some super cool stuff, so you check him out. That's all I've got to say on that. Star Wars X-Wing must have had big money. So Star Wars X-Wing was licensed out, right? Star Wars X-Wing's big. They had a World Championships in 2000. Little Chris went to it, Chris Jr. from Ireland. He went, and there was 1,000 people who played. 1,000 people who played it. It's big. It's big. The bad part of that is they don't own the IP. I guess there's nothing that stops FFG losing the license. Yeah, because it was Fantasy Flight Games who did it. And are they a AAA developer? I guess they are. But high cost of entry if you want to challenge their position, says Hamsfan. But you could subsidize the high cost of entry, right? I feel that there are there's some legs to that business. I suppose you don't start as AAA, you start small, and there's plenty of smaller studios trying to get there now, says Halolex. Fair point, but that isn't really, we'll take, I don't know if any of you followed, but I'll be very, can't wait to Garrison that house. Yeah, let's go back, Mallow. This will be a Garrison, so it'll be so fun putting some dudes in here and be like, can't get me. They spun a sub-company for X-Wing and Legion, yeah. So, they spun up a sub-company. Nice. That'll be interesting. The point I was trying to make was that they've just sold their Star Wars IP on, I think, or maybe it was just Legion. Interesting. 2.0 release killed X-Wing locally, then COVID put the tombstone up, says T-Man Cash. That's interesting. And sorry again, that is Ramshackle Games' website. Go check it out. The point is if you guys followed football at all recently, because I think this is kind of the interesting bit, is if you follow football, English soccer, the Super League you might have seen on Twitter. Basically, what happened is a large bank called JP Morgan funded or tried to subsidize stealing, basically, from another corrupt organization called FIFA. So it doesn't really matter, but tried to steal some major football teams, and then put them into kind of like a closed circuit tournament. And then did it with billions and billions of pounds. So obviously they recognised that there was big money in there, and they decided that they were gonna compete with the rest of football, basically, or steal parts of big football. I don't know, whatever. And I guess my point is that businesses recognise that there are other places to put business, and someone must at the moment be like, those guys are just printing money. They literally can't get enough stock to sell. There has to be an industry here. There has to be another one. Aggression or Aggression, thank you for subscribing. It's very much appreciated. Thanks to everyone who subscribes and is subscribed on the honest-wargamer Patreon or listens to the podcast or any of those things. You're all great. Big network effects on the gaming community make new games hard to build. People play Warhammer because there are lots of other people who play with, says Hawkdos. Super fair point. Really well made. I really hope the Metzen RPG is successful. Seems rad as fuck, says Kodoichi. Also, if they go big on the RPG front to generate the world, they'll have more content to pull for a war game. Maybe their strategy, Kodoichi. And do you know what? Maybe a better version of what I was thinking instead of them just coming out the gate. A football, where's the snooker corruption? I don't know this is true, because I don't follow snooker at all. But isn't the guy who, is best at snooker, so good, he's, unstoppable? Isn't he, boringly good? No one could beat him. Is that right? Am I wrong about that? I don't know. Ronnie O'Sullivan, that's the guy. Isn't he, unbelievably, so good no one can stop him? Yeah. What the fuck is snooker? Snooker is what Canadians call snooker for some reason. Who watches snooker? Okay, snooker talk. He is 8th Ed pre-nerf Iron Hands Codex in human form. He is. Neil Robertson is a massive 40k fan. Is he a snooker player? Wow. Okay. So he's suggesting Games Workshop joins the European Super League, says Tommy. No. What I'm saying is that there could be a competitor, is what I'm saying. That's all. That's all I'm saying. And it's weird that there isn't. I guess there is. But it just always feels a bit mom and poppy and not big baller games. Do you know what I mean? I guess it's the same as, there are loads of amazing indie developers for computer games, right? That's great. And then just someone with some big money comes in and is like, boom, here's a big AAA platform game, I guess. There is a Warhammer equivalent of Sepp Blatter. Is there? Is there? I don't know. I'm really scared now because we're moving into sports and I feel very uncomfortable in this conversation. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what most of this means. It's really important. There you go. There's a video linked by Owen in the chat about Neil Robertson talking about 40k. So he's a snooker player, apparently. There we go. Neil Robertson loves Warhammer. Is he a snooker player? Is that what they look like? Man, that guy's got a fucking thrill the ladies. Hey buddy, what you into? He's like, I'm really into snooker. And they're like, yeah, I can kind of see snooker. That's fine. What else you into? I'm also into painting little toy soldiers. Like, fucking hell. But I guess he's a real pro on the tabletop. Like, this guy dominates tabletops. This is his whole shtick. He's like, get me at a table at mid-height, and I'm going to do some stuff around that table. Like, who knows what else he's good at. Just get drunk and put some more Sweetie. So thanks, Joke PLC. Will this be a good time to ask a quick list writing question? Eyeglasses, it's never a good time, so now's the right time to ask. One day in the future, when people have seized the means of production, i.e. 3D printing, will our Computer Games Workshop crowdsource rules and law, says Milton Snowflake. An interesting take. I do wonder if that will ever be a process, but it's a thing. Lol, Frontline Gaming is Warhammer FIFA, says Groty Woty. True. I'm just going to put that in there. Takes his women on the tabletop. Can't have sex on a bed. Only the kitchen counter. He's one of those people who like just sleeps on like wooden beds. Fantastic with angles. Like fantastic with angles. Are we writing his Tinder profile? Fantastic with angles. Great on a tabletop. Really good ball game. Who knows? Tom B, I watched a YouTube video where someone has made a cheat and pool cue that automatically knows how to pot the balls. What? That's amazing. I keep hearing croaky wokey. Do you? Why? Man fantastic with angles is a good Tinder profile shout. Yeah, that is good. Real gamers do it on the tabletop. That's true. I'm building 6 Gore Grunters, says Eyeglasses, for what will be a 2,000 point Iron Jaws list, and I need to know whether it would be better as 1 unit of 6 or 2 units of 3. I would say it depends on what you're putting in. Big War, a big unit of 6 is like terrifying. But one of the problems you have with Gore Grunters, to some degree, is you buff them up, and when you buff them up with a War Chanter, they're incredible. They're pretty good anyway, but they're amazing. Then you fly them forward and they smash. The problem is then they don't have that buff unless you can get the War Chanter nearby, or you can get them within range of the War Chanter later on for the buff to continue. Their bravery is fairly low, so unless you have a hero alongside them, if they lose like 3 of the 6, they're in a bit of a big problem. Never run 12. Never run 12. I've done it, don't do it. It's a mistake. But there's a good argument for 3s and 6s on both sides. And so really you've got to choose what the rest of your list is going to look like. I think 2 units 3 is probably better than unit 6. Like, all said. Because it just gives you a unit you can trade with quite nicely. It's not a huge points investment, but a War Chanter buff will take them, and they'll push in really hard. Really, you've got to ask yourself, though, can you deal with some of the big prevalent threats out there? Can you deal with, let's say, an Archeon, I guess? Yeah, or some of those other things. So, yeah, I'd say 2 3s probably is the right call. What is my charge reaction to the Ares V3 rules leaks? My charge reaction is, whichever the one is you stand in, you get +1 save. That's what my charge reaction is. Stand in. +1 save. Just like, let's buckle up, boys. Because New Edition is really fun. New Editions are very fun. If no one was here from the flip from 1 to 2, we had huge rules changes. Summoning became free. That was massive. Command point stacking became a thing. That was huge. What else? Your general couldn't be the only one who did command abilities. That was big. Inspiring Presence became reactive. It used to be you'd buff up your unit, you'd be like, lads, you're really brave, off you go. And they'd be like, let's go, son. And they'd run off. Yeah, you'd be like, that unit's Inspiring Presence. And then your opponent would ask, which unit's got Inspiring Presence? You'd be like, this one. And then they'd just attack the other unit. Every time, which was rubbish. Hey guys, I hope you're well. Can you remember Old Portal, though? Fuck me. Oh, my God. I do remember Old Portal. The worst. That was so bad. No problem, eyeglasses. I hope that helps. Question is, yeah. So, missed everyone. Yeah, good. So, that's where I think it's an exciting time. I don't think this is a time to be upset. I think anyone who's trying to measure their current army versus what the rules in the future will look like is in the wrong place, because there's so many changes that will happen that we don't have any idea about. Could it be that all the points are going to change? Probably. That's probably, if I was to give that a percentage guess, high, 75, 80%, I think that we're going to see some significant, if not a GHB and a whole new set of points put out for everything. So that's going to, as you all know, that changes your lists around anyway, and I think is fascinating. And if that doesn't happen, I don't know, man. It's a new edition as well. Let's be crystal clear about what they want to do. They want to do a new edition and then sell us all the books that we bought again and some new books. So anyone who's I really want to hold on to my 3-year Beast of Chaos book, you're not going to get the opportunity to. You probably won't get the opportunity to hold on to your Seraphon or your Tzeentch book either from a year ago. Because inside that time frame of 3 years, which is what they do it for 40k, and they're doing it now for Age of Sigmar, it seems to be their process, you're going to have each one of your books re-released with maybe multiple copies of that book, basically, apparently now. Half a book, another half a book, 3/4 of a book, a pamphlet that goes in your book, and then an additional card-based book, and then some sort of terrain for just your faction book. Who knows? A lot of books, though. Loads of books. So many books. Do you think the orcs are going to get the same Primaris treatment? The new boys are the same size as a knob. Do I think... Uruks? Oh, you mean 40k orcs? Yes. They're going to get bigger. I'm definitely vibing on that. If I stick with AOS after 3.0, it will be the first time I've ever stuck with Games Workshop after an edition change. It's Prop Joe. Quit Warhammer Fantasy Battle 3rd to 4th. Quit Space Marines 1st to 2nd. Prop Joe, I'd suggest you do, man. And my reason is because the community is phenomenal. My part of the hobby and the part I talk about that I'm most excited about has kind of been gone for a while. But shout out to Pask, Owen, the organisers from Battle of Copenhagen, Adam Mumford, all these guys who've done tabletop tournament organising, Pete and Cabbage, who are doing it for the Honest Wargamer crew, to keep that gaming thing alive over the past year. But my hobby and the hobby I talk about, and when I say Warhammer's great, really what I'm talking about is hanging out with your mates at events. That's what I'm really talking about. It's cool when your mate comes over and you play a game. That's wicked. But I can just hang out with my mates doing anything. And playing Warhammer with them is really fun. But going to events is just a pitch perfect version of it for me. And so when I talk about it, I am a bit biased because there's no way I won't have fun. And actually, when the game's fucky, it's more fun for me because I just think it's hilarious. Sometimes I used to get pissed for you guys, but I can't keep getting pissed for you guys. You've got to get pissed for yourselves. And if you don't get pissed for yourselves, then fine. Let's just have some fun with it and have some, who knows? Maybe they'll make no summoning free. Thought about that? Has anyone put that rumour out in the world yet? What if summoning no longer free again? Legion of the Gash, Nighthorn, Ossiarch Bone Reapers, yeah? Do you forget the fact that you just get free shit? No, you can pay points for it, you bitches. Everyone's this is fine. This is fine. I'll just have these 10 blue horrors. This is fine. It's not fine. Yeah? Awful idea. Look at you. Awful idea. But when it was suggested, man, let me tell you, let me give you a history bit. Age of Sigmar 1 to 2, they're free summoning. It's that's so dumb. And they were lol, Legions and the Gash. Bring back a whole unit every turn for 360 points. And somehow, man, that's not even good anymore. Bring it back whole units. You can still do that. It's insane. If they released that as a battle tome tomorrow, if I was right, new battle tome for whatever, Squippos, whatever you wanted, yeah, and I was they've got a command ability that allows them to return a whole dead unit every turn. You'd be that's dumb as shit. Dumb as shit. But it's there, and it's not even popular. It's not even, but at the time, they were running at 12, 13% of the meta. They were like taking out tournaments. People were like, yeah, so I won a couple of tournaments for Legions of Gash. I'm a pretty big deal over here in America. You'd be like, well, are you? It was that hard. Free summoning sells more models. Maybe it does. I don't know. Do you remember the event? Let's talk about it quietly. Do you remember the event where they made you bring another version of the unit or model? Like, if you killed a unit, you weren't allowed at a certain event to resummon the same unit and actually had to bring along another whole unit. Don't want to mention the event by name. However, it sold out and it was a thing. And that's wild as shit. That's wild as shit. Imagine you went to that. What would you say? Insane. Anyway, I'm sure people know. Oh wait, yes, says Owen. James Boots built and painted 5 Scarblood Wraths, and each one incredibly more covered in blood. What a legend. I mean, great opportunity to do so. It was also held inside a store. This is also an important point. But personally, I would call bullshit on the community. Like, if I was in that community, I'd be like, no. But that's what free summoning was, is my point. So, like, and kind of to bring it back to my initial point is, if you're upset about what you think is might be going on at the moment, yeah, then just chill. Because, like, yeah, maybe some of it will be fucky, but the game's always fucking, man. It's always a bit fucky. So let's just enjoy the ride. Make memes. That's what we do. We make memes and we have fun. That's what we're here for. Steve, I mean, I don't think the idea caught on community-wide. I think it was generally lampooned to some degree as an idea, as it should be. But, you know, really handy that obviously there was a store available for said event. Anyway, summoning's a good time. Summoning's a good time now. And do you know what? Summoning now is part of the conversation when me and Owen, let's say, or me and the guys, when we talk about army lists. Because it kind of dictates the tempo of an army to a degree now. And I'm not against it. I think it's a really cool feature, if I'm honest. Like, it's pretty fun. Like, Deviant Dot, Rob, do you have any insights on that besides Brexit and COVID and international supply chains being fucked? No, I don't. I've heard a range of things. One of the major things about Games Workshop supply chain, just really quickly, I don't really want to talk about any of this, like, really. But one of the quick things is the ERP integration, there we go, was the issue, which is something to do, again, never worked in a big business. I have worked at Games Workshop, but I worked in the media department / community team, which is basically like 4 chuckle fuckers doing like whatever they want. So I don't really know what ERP means, but apparently that's like a big deal for like transitioning all your business from one part to another part. I don't imagine there was ever a point ever in their business strategy where they did that and they shut down production for several weeks, which they do, or a couple of weeks at least, which they currently are in the process of doing. So, like, maybe they're fucked? I don't know. Like, they're not long-term fucked because they got bags of cash, mountains of money. To quote my good friend Val, they don't even own any debt, which apparently is really dumb because money is cheap. Don't agree with anything that I just said there, but yeah. So it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. First question to ask against any opponent with summoning is what their summoning pool is. If they want to recycle units, just don't kill them. That's really fair. Enterprise resource planning. Thank you, I'm a good demon and honest. Kearnigget thinks it might be erotic roleplay. 2 very different members of the audience there. If playing Change Host, how many blue horrors do I need for each 10 pinks? Do you wipe all the pinks and have 20 blues at any point? Yes. Yes, there could be a point where you have exactly 20 blues and no pinks. So yeah, you basically need 2 blues for each pink, and therefore a brim for each blue. Is how it works. They do have Scrooge McDuck money, so they're going to be all good in that situation. If playing, I would be interested to see free summon only as once per game war scroll, but interesting gamble of summon early or risk die. It's interesting. Yeah, I agree. I think that's the scope of the game, right? There's loads of places to take the game. That proposed charge reaction is super fun, because number one, it kind of like is a nod to Warhammer Fantasy Battle. I think I saw Smorgan say this in the video. Like it's a bit of a nod to old boys. Like, do you want to come back to play Warhammer? Do you want to stop playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle and come back here? Not forgetting, of course, very importantly, my aforementioned video where Games Workshop are furiously, Citadel specifically, so non-Forge World, specifically furiously raging against the reintroduction of the new world, of the old world, sorry, coming out of Forge World. Really important. Yeah, I don't know if that's a true thing, but like my guesswork is that they're like, we're going to make this as close to or resembling so we can get back that audience and we don't lose anyone to the old world, which is why we talked about the rumor of Bretonnian Stormcast. Like, that was a rumor that came out. Like, so Stormcast are going to be more Bretonnian-esque. Anyway, fascinating stuff. Alarion's Law, is this horrors talk or snooker? The Register have an article on their ERP. Oh, the Register have an article on their ERP problem. Sounds like they may have tried to do it themselves on the cheap, app style, and got fucked up royally, says Scott B. They've since spent a lot of money trying to fix it. Yes, correct. I don't know, Scott B, if you have the link to that, so you guys can put it in the chat. If anyone's interested, Deviant Doc specifically, who asked the question, if you guys want to go read that. I heard that too, and integrate a new ERP system, which seemed to be incredibly complex on a company that level, and it seemed that like everything they tried to do it themselves, royally fucked it, and take a new third party on board to sort the clusterfuck. What a shock. They didn't hire the professionals to do the professional job. But thankfully, they are the professionals at making minis and making Age of Sigmar and 40k, which is all we really give a fuck about, to be honest. And you can just, like, there we go. Thanks, Scott B, for the chat, for putting that in there. That's really helpful. I will tweet that out because it might save humanity. It's been lovely talking to you guys. I don't think I've painted loads, but this is the third board I've nearly finished, which is really fun. A little bit of an update. I'm painting a board, or I will be painting a board, really fun. I painted out a Colosseum, so it's like a circular piece, which is really cool. So it's been printed out, but with wooden stands. I'll show you next time I'm on stream, which will be tomorrow or something. But it's like wooden kind of like palisade around it, which is really cool. Inside that, I'm going to put two giants fighting. That's going to be a piece of terrain, non-garrisonable. That'll be impassable terrain because no one wants to get near the gladiatorium thing. That'll be 11 out of 10. Really looking forward to that. Yes, that's right, Matt. You got it. Hey, Jacob Berry. ERP are typically a system for long-term automation, efficiency, and transportation, particularly when they are really tough in the first month or four. Oh, thanks, JP. Thanks, Jacob Berry. It's really lovely of you. That's what I was told about. I had no idea what they meant. Games Workshop server rooms are a mess. There you go. There's the answer. Right, well, listen, it's been lovely. Will you be talking about Nighthaunt? Yes, on Monday's show, that is what we will be talking about. We will be discussing the rest of the Broken Realm stuff we didn't discuss the other day. So it's going to be really, really fun. Really love talking to all you guys. Thank you very much for being here. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for being part of just thanks to all of you. You're all great. I'll be live again with Dayton tomorrow. I'm pretty certain tomorrow is, yes, it's the last Sunday before the end of the month, which means we'll be looking at all of the new ranges coming out from the different 3D designers, which will be really, really cool. So the different designers from different Patreons and other stuff, they'll be doing all their new releases. So it's kind of like a reveal show. I guess it's the Other Miniatures reveal show. .tm.c to be branded at some point. Who knows? You're all great. Look after yourselves. Thanks for being here. Oh, let's go raid someone. Forgot about that. Let's go, boys and ladies. Of course, if anyone's watching. Other cool. Oh, we'll talk about that on Monday. I was just going to say there's been some cool announcements, hasn't there? The AOS Six Nations is coming back. That's very exciting. Looking forward to that. There's some cool announcements out there for events. Looking forward to it. Let's go find someone to raid. There's loads of people watching today. It's a Saturday, I guess. Hexdex, thanks for resubscribing. That's super cool of you. Let's go raid Forks Art. She's our babe. Yeah, she's great. We raided her before, but she's the best. Oh, thanks, Jacob Berry, for donating 5 gift subscriptions. You are lovely. What a nice guy. If anyone wants to check out Jacob's podcast, it's called The Rage of Sigmar. That, too, is not family-friendly as a podcast, but it's a great place to go. So you should go listen to him. He's also one of my pals. So there we go. We're doing a raid. Love you, tut loads. Talk to you soon. Bye.